Liz, you focus very early on in the book on the fact that Trump, 2 days after he lost the election, he fired the defense secretary. Why do you think he did that? Why is that important?
Well, first of all, to have a situation where a president who's lost the election, and so we should be going through a transition. And a transition is a period of time when the United States is particularly potentially vulnerable, and especially at the Defense Department. You have to have a nonpartisan transition. You have to have a situation where people are very focused on what is the good of the country, and people recognize we may have lost the election, but those politics should not be part of any kind of decisions that are being made, especially during a transition period. And so to see Donald Trump fire his defense secretary, and we know now, of course, much more about what was happening at the time. I was very concerned at the time. He was also replacing other senior leaders at the department. We know now, for example, that he had told Johnny McEntee at one point to ensure that the Secretary of the Army and the Chief of Staff of the Army knew that if they issued any more statements saying that the U.S. military had no role in our elections, that they would be fired. And that's when you combine that with the steps that we know Mike Flynn was urging him to take, Mike Flynn was urging be taken publicly, things like deploying the military in order to rerun elections in swing states. And I think that's one of the real dangers people have to focus on when we think about a potential second Trump administration. You will take those people who were the most radical, the most dangerous, who had the proposals that were the most dangerous, and he will put them in positions of supreme power. And that's a risk that we simply can't take.